much must I repeat? We only play for keeps. No timeouts, no free throws, no refs, no penalties, no handouts, no pit stops, no cheat codes, no sleep. But the drinks are on us. If you with it, then pull up a seat.
Boom.
Yeah. That was good.
Let's do this
Fuck
thing.
yeah.
The Coaches Collaboration Podcast.
Hey, this is Josh Pearson.
Performance specialist with the complete athlete.
This is Cole Warm.
Certified USAPL club coach and owner of Salutum Health and Performance. Each week, Cole and Josh will take you through training techniques and tips, talk to athletes and fitness professionals to educate and motivate you for your fitness goals. Plus, you'll follow the journeys of Team Salutum Powerlifting and Get Complete Athletes. The Coaches Collaboration Podcast is brought to you by Salutum Health and Performance. Take your full power potential to a new level. Online powerlifting coaching. Customized programming to fit your individual needs and goals. Access to a coach 24/7. Whether you need a quick form check or a full program, Salutum Health and Performance has one goal in mind, taking you to the next level. Got a meet coming up? Ask about on-site coaching. Join the team that's setting records across the powerlifting community. Team Salutum Powerlifting with Salutum Health and Performance. Online at salutumhp.com. salutumhp.com. And now, the Coaches Collaboration Podcast.
Yeah. What's up, Cole?
Not much, man. How
Yeah?
you been?
I've been. How about you?
Been good, dude.
That last episode, Josh does steroids. Yeah.
Pretty good, right?
A few people have been asking me about that.
Really?
They're like, all I saw was the headline. You really do steroids?
Did.
Yeah.
Past tense.
And that's why I'm like, did. Well, it says does. Yeah.
It does. Well, you
Well, yeah, because
does,
we were like, oh my God, we're
Does.
talking about when Josh does steroids. And so
Yeah,
maybe
that's true.
Maybe we should change it to Josh did
Yeah.
steroids.
Nah,
No.
Nah, it's
okay.
all right. It's all right.
that's that clickbait culture, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got to get them
What else was I
interested.
called? God, I had that
Juggler.
mafia name.
We
Yeah.
should have done
It's
like
called the
hashtag
bitch
trend,
juggler.
hashtag free. Hashtag free trend. Like,
Free trend.
Free trend. Oh, yeah.
I'll trend you for free.
Yeah. That's
that
right.
sounds like someone saying, I'll train you for free with a bad accent. I'll train you for free.
Yeah.
No, whatever, moving on.
That's why I said it, but sweet. Brooke, you
Like I
have
said,
been you've been doing a bad job of catching on to my sense of humor lately.
I have. It's real. I'm sorry. I think it's because I've been momming so hard lately. You see, you know, you dinks don't have to. You dual income, no kids.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, you know what I mean.
Katie's a student, so
Dinks.
pretty much solo income.
Dare she?
She did make the dean's list this last semester.
Oh, yeah? Fuck yeah.
So we went out to sushi the other night
Oh,
to celebrate,
yeah. Congrats, man.
and I crushed 4.5 rolls.
Where'd you go?
Hajime.
Is that how you
Is
say
that
it?
the new one?
I was like, Hajime?
Hajime.
No, I say it wrong because I had no idea how to say it.
Hajime? How do you-
Hajime.
Yeah.
I don't know why this pisses me off.
I don't know about you guys, but I really like these Gookie bags.
These gucky. The gucky.
So,
You've had a lot happen to you in the last couple of weeks.
yeah.
Hey guys.
Hey,
What's up, dude?
what's up, bud?
Hey, turn around. Let's go. Sorry.
And our special guest on today's podcast
Yeah.
is a 7-year-old, 8-year-old.
I don't know. He's big, though.
He is a big kid. Anyway, you've had a lot happen in your life.
Yeah, so what do you want to talk about first?
Let's start with the most obvious, Stan Efferding.
Stan the man?
Stan the man. So, for those of you who don't know him, and if you don't, look him up.
Yeah, Stan is he's an interesting I don't know what you would call him. An influencer?
Entrepreneur, for sure.
He is definitely an entrepreneur. But he's done YouTube videos. He's been kind of in the fitness industry for a long time. So the first time I ever heard about him was when I was in like 8th grade, 14 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And he was kind of like bragging about being the world's strongest bodybuilder.
Yeah.
Because he had just, I don't know if he had just won his pro card. Either way, he was a pro bodybuilder and then plus had world records.
In the squat, right?
In total.
In total?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he was kind of bragging about that and like kind of calling out some other bodybuilders saying, hey.
You weak ass bitch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and so I've known about him since I was, like I said, I was 14.
So 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause I'm a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And then like the past 3-4 years, I've been following him a lot more closely just because he's been on Mark Bell's podcast and stuff like that. So that's when I really got to know like his philosophy on things. And like, he was just talking about a lot of stuff that made a lot of sense to me because for one, he kind of not necessarily dumb things down, but he explains things to the layman very well.
Yeah.
So he takes a lot of shit that a lot of scientists and studies put out and then basically is like, this is how you apply it.
Right. Yeah.
So he does a really good job of that, and that's kind of how I first like got drawn to him,
For
because
sure.
he was like making things doable in everyday life. So
Right.
like right now his big thing is his vertical diet.
Right. Yeah.
So, and like I told him this too, was like, you do like, that's the way you explain things. It's like, it's hard for the regular person not to just do it, because it's like, he makes it so easy to do
Yeah.
that it's like, it's just, why
Yeah.
not?
When he talks about his monster mash, and you can
Right,
have
right.
steak every day, steak, rice, spinach.
And it's, I mean, granted, a lot of people don't agree with everything he says.
For
which-
sure. Yeah. Because a
who's
lot
gonna
of people
agree with
say
everything?
there's so much red meat and that's going to kill
Right,
you,
right.
and all that saturated fats, and fuck off.
But regardless, he is a very big influence in the fitness community,
Oh, yeah.
primarily bodybuilding and powerlifting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I got to meet him and lift with him. So it was kind of cool.
And we got to harass you guys. All the questions we were just
Oh, yeah.
shooting at you guys
Yeah.
was ridiculous.
I didn't even know what was going on those. I was just focused on lifting.
Oh
so.
God, it was hilarious. Every time they went up to Stan and asked him a question, I was like, God, we really shouldn't be bothering him this much, because
Yeah.
we had 100 questions.
Really?
Oh, nonstop. We just kept going around and hitting people up, and some
Yeah,
of them
so-
were legit questions, but some of them were like, "What's your favorite tattoo?"
Right.
Fuck off! God damn it!
Yeah.
We've got an hour with this guy, and you're asking him
Right.
about tattoos and
So
shit.
for people who are wondering what we're talking about, there was a live feed of this training session that there was a big meetup of people, and it was mostly, the reason he came up mostly was to lift with Amanda.
Right.
But then they put together this whole meetup of like some of the strongest people in the state,
which was cool. Yeah.
which was super cool. And also John Hack, who lives out in Wisconsin, who's one of the strongest in the world right now.
Mm.
He drove 4 hours over to
Right. Just
lift
to
with us
lift.
too,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, it was cool. I got to lift with them.
You got a PR.
I got a lifetime PR of 610 pound squat, which is kind of nuts because
You weren't tapered for it. You weren't
no,
peaked for it.
I wasn't peaked.
You don't squat on a Sunday.
No, and plus, I hadn't touched over 545 in 7 months
Yeah. So crazy.
before I go on to squat 610.
Yeah.
So
Now, let's say you weren't lifting with him. What would have you done that Saturday before? Because you typically squat on
Right.
Saturday.
planned that week was 555 for a single.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
55 pounds later.
Right. I think that just goes to show, like, I've always known this about myself, and there's a lot of lifters like this, but I'm just a gamer.
Yeah.
So, like, if there's competition around me and if the stakes are high and I got eyes on me, especially if I got fucking Stan Efferding back spotting me,
Mm-hmm.
it's like I don't have a choice but to perform.
Right. Yeah. Give
So
it
I'm
everything.
able to dig deep into
Mhm.
that well and pull something out of my ass that maybe I don't even think was
Right.
capable of that day, which I didn't. I had no clue that I was going to do that day.
Right.
Like, went in fully intending just to hit 555 and then do my back down sets
Right.
and like kind of just be there to watch or whatever.
Were you wrecked after that?
No,
No?
not really.
So the next week of training, no big deal, nothing?
Nope.
No?
Nope. It wasn't. Yeah. I think the next week of training, I went on to hit like a conventional deadlift post-injury PR as well.
Fuck
so.
yeah. Good.
So, yeah, and like I said, that just goes to show that for some people, man, if the stakes are high, they just rise to the occasion.
Mm-hmm.
But that also goes to show, I think it really kind of reinforced my philosophy on sub-maximal training,
Yeah.
because up to that point, I've been squatting 2 days a week. What I'd do is I'd work up to a single, like probably RP 7-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd back down and do 3 sets of 5 at somewhere, like, it's been going up, but it would be like 465 and then 475, 485, whatever.
Right.
So again, I haven't touched heavy, quote unquote, heavy weight in
Mhm.
a long time, but that just goes to show you don't necessarily need to.
No, right.
Like, if you're putting that
exactly.
work in,
Mm-hmm.
if you're doing that submaximal work, that's still affecting that top end.
Right. Well, I mean, so I'll use yesterday's squat as an example. The speed you're moving these quote unquote lighter weights, you're producing probably just as much force as you did the day you did 610.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because that lighter weight, it's less harmful on your joints. You can do it more often.
Exactly.
And you can put some power into those.
Right.
You know?
And then
90%, 95%, I mean, 95 is a lot, but 90%, you can put some speed on and still get better.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of my, I don't know if I'd say athlete type or muscle type or whatever it is. I perform very, very well on singles.
Yeah.
And then like once I start to do reps, that's where it falls off a little bit. But that way, so right now I'm just basically touching a single at a heavy-ish weight, but that's not my focus at all. Like I just do that kind of stay specific into being able to hit a single, but then I back down and do my work.
Right.
Which lately has been right around 500 pounds, which I haven't done like ever. I've never, I mean.
You're working heavier than you ever had.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's, but it's still not heavy. You know, I'm still not like grinding.
Exactly. Which is so important.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're grinding every day, you're, like you said, going into the well way too deep.
Well, and
way too much.
That's the reason I'm doing that too, is because I have been hurt.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm kind of staying sub-maximal, but I'm increasing just a little bit every week. So I'm still kind of pushing it just a hair every single week without going super hard and crushing myself.
Yeah.
Potentially getting injured again.
Yeah.
So I think for one, it helped me. Like, I'm like, okay.
Reassured you?
Yeah. It's like, okay, I can get by with what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, just because you are injured or are suffering from some aches and pains, and doesn't mean you can't get better.
Well, and it doesn't mean that you need to put yourself at the potential of injury at those top sets.
Yeah, some of the best in the world, they truly only max out at their meets.
Yeah.
You know, so in the gym, they're not hitting those numbers.
That's all of my best lifts, except for that, have been on the platform.
As it should be.
Yeah.
Right? As it should be.
Yeah.
You should be recovered. You should be ready to go.
Right.
I mean, you're risking quite a bit when you go for that maximal intensity, you know?
And also, I think that plays into a little bit about my psychology when it comes to lifts, because there's some people who, if they have never touched a weight before, they get psyched out.
Yeah.
And they miss. But for me, like, honestly, the weight on the bar doesn't mean anything to me. Like, as long as it's something that I should be able to hit.
Right.
You know? It's not like, hey, I've never touched 610 before, like, this day. I don't think, like, there's some people who have to basically fail a weight. And then once they're okay, I know how it feels now.
Right.
Then they can go back and hit it, because they just get so psyched out about the number.
Yeah. What's it going to feel like?
Right. For me, it's never been that way. Like, I just know, hey, I've done all this work. This is something that I should hit. So that's why in meets, some people are like I'll hit a weight that's like 50 pounds more than I've ever hit in the gym.
Yeah.
And people are like, how the hell can you do that?
Yeah.
It's like, you just pulled that out of nowhere. It's like, not really. I did the work that led up to that, and then I peaked and everything that led me to do that. I don't necessarily need to, because that's not a psychology that I deal with.
Right.
I don't need to touch that weight to know that I'll hit that.
And you trust the programming.
Exactly.
You know,
that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, even if it's a placebo effect and you are literally pulling this out of your ass, it's working.
Yeah.
Right. That's how I am when I'm maxing out too. I mean, I can miss again and again and again, but when it comes time to tapering and things, it's like,
ride the wave.
10-pound PR.
Yeah, ride the wave.
And it felt easier than any weight that you've ever touched before.
Yep. You can't psych yourself out before the fact just because you haven't touched that before.
That's what champions are made of.
Yeah.
You know, is being able to do something you've never done before.
Yeah. So that was crazy. And honestly, like, me hitting that number with Stan there, like, that was cool, but then it didn't really hit me until after, when I was side spotting him squat 600 pounds. Like, I was like, literally during his set, I'm like, I'm side spotting Stan Efferding right now.
Isn't that cool? Yeah.
Like, I'm
that's
like,
really
this
cool.
is fucking insane.
Who was the guy who squatted 600 pounds 7 times?
Cody Carpentier.
Holy shit.
He's a fucking savage, man. Shout out to
my
Cody.
God.
And what was really cool is because Cody is such a huge fan of Stan
Yeah.
that, I mean, Cody's name on Instagram is the vertical powerlifter.
That's awesome.
Like, that's how much
Right.
he's into Stan so much. So
Mhm.
it was kind of cool seeing him be able to like chop it up and talk to his
Right.
idol.
for sure. For
Yeah.
sure. And that's
And then seeing him be able to perform and hit a huge PR like that in front of him too.
yeah. I mean, first of all, who knows what their 7 rep max is?
Yeah.
And what better day to just destroy yourself
Mhm.
than in front of a guy like him? Now, did he teach you anything, say anything to you? Did you learn? Or was it just kind of like starstruck? What?
No, I mean, we didn't really have time. It would have been cool to like sit down and chat with him, maybe like record some of it, but
Yeah.
it was more just normal chatting.
Mm.
Like I didn't want to feel like I was interviewing him,
Right.
you know?
As much as you wanted to.
Right. Yeah. I would like to pick his brain about everything, but it was more just like, hey, we're here just training together, having a good time.
Right.
You know, and plus it was being recorded too. So it didn't seem like the time or place to like be able
Yeah.
to sit down with them and
For
have like
sure.
a conversation
Yeah. And
about
act. Yeah. Yeah.
training or whatever.
Mhm.
So, no, it was cool, man. He's just a genuinely nice guy. Like, he's down to earth. He wasn't like,
Fucking giant.
yeah. And what's crazy?
Giant.
So he's only like, right now,
Excuse me.
he's only like 15 pounds more than me,
Which is.
but he made me
nuts.
look tiny
Yeah.
because he's fucking shredded.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That vertical diet, man.
Yeah, man. So yeah, that was
Awesome.
a cool experience.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool experience.
Now.
And plus, now he follows me on Instagram.
Does
so,
he?
Yeah.
Oh fuck yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So fast forwarding, a week later, you
Yeah.
go and see Chris D'Elia.
Yeah. Last weekend.
How the hell was that?
So it was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's probably my second favorite comedian right now, behind Theo Vaughn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I've listened to.
By
his,
the way, for the record, Theo Vaughn should have gotten guest of the year for sure.
he did.
I thought Chris D'Elia did.
No, they rescinded.
Good
rescinded
God,
it and-
that's
yeah.
right.
But yeah. So me and two of my friends from college,
Mhm.
drove out to Milwaukee to see Chris D'Elia, and one of my other friends from college lives in Milwaukee, so we were
Okay.
able to stay in his apartment,
Cool.
which was literally like a block away from the theater.
Wow.
So it was perfect. But yeah, and I mean, I've listened to his podcast for a long time. I've just like been a fan of his for a long time. So it was cool to finally see him in person. It was hilarious, dude. And his bits now are brand new bits.
Right.
So I hadn't heard any of it
Yep.
before. And what's funny too is because like some comedians, because I listen to a lot of comedians' podcasts.
Yep.
And you can tell that they get their bits from something that started on their podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Chris's bits, they really didn't have a
That's
connection
awesome.
to his podcast, so they were like shit totally out of left field that I
Right.
wasn't expecting.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that was good too.
No, that's really cool.
yeah.
I also have noticed from other comedians' specials,
Mm-hmm.
they'll take those jokes and bring them into their podcast.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And Chris really never seems to do that either.
No,
That's
he's just
really cool.
like, that just goes to show how fucking funny he
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
because he can literally make any premise
Mhm.
and fucking go a bit. Because what's cool about Chris's podcast is he does it solo, and he literally just gets on a premise and then fucking does a whole bit off of it.
Yeah.
And it's just fucking hilarious, man. So, and then the fact that he can do a podcast every week with all of these premises and bits and not take any of them onto his stand-up.
Is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was a good time. And his opener was really funny too. I think his name was Mike. I forget his last name, but he's always in his Instagram
Yeah.
stories and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was funny too.
Did you dress up in all white?
No.
Oh, you're not.
I-
You're not a real baby.
I almost, so it was too late by the time I thought about doing it, but I was going to get one of his Wouldn't Make a Dent shirts.
Oh God, those are awesome.
Wouldn't make a fucking dent.
Yeah.
But it was too late, so I wouldn't have gotten it in time. But yeah, no, it was cool, and then it was funny because for me and my like closest friends, like I'm the only one that's really into like comedy stuff
Oh.
like that.
Really?
So it was cool to like be around people who like get the same fucking jokes,
Oh,
like the
yeah.
inside jokes that only people who listen to those podcasts
Mhm.
get. It was funny.
That is really cool. Get that mob mentality going.
Yeah, it was a good time. That was the first comedian or comedy show I'd ever been to. So like when I'm watching specials at home on Netflix, like it's kind of rare that I actually laugh out loud.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's got to be really funny if I'm alone
Mhm.
in my living room to make me laugh out
Right.
loud.
Yeah.
But I was fucking dying.
Oh, that's awesome.
Part of it is just the environment,
Everybody.
right? Yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
everyone's laughing.
And
plus
it's
I was
less serious. It's
Yeah.
not a special. He's having more fun, I'm sure.
right, and I
Right.
was buzzed,
And you were buzzed.
feeling
There you
good.
go.
Yeah,
That is awesome. Me, I've just been doing a bunch of wedding shit.
yeah.
Mm,
A lot of like so.
can't wait till that's over.
People say that putting together a wedding is a lot of work,
Yeah.
but until you actually do it, is it
Mhm.
fucking more than you'd ever expect, or what?
It's just a lot of little shit.
Like
So-
stuff you don't even think about when you first like.
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. So we've ran through what we expect the day to go
Right.
3-4 times where we're like, at 10 o'clock, this happens. At 10:30, this happens, so that we can think of like, oh shit, we need to have, sandwiches for lunch.
Yeah.
We need to have this. We need to have that. All those little things that
Right.
you only will realize you have or don't have in the moment.
Yeah.
And so we're
You're trying to like play through it in your mind any possible way
Yeah.
to make sure that you have all your
What happens
bases
when
covered.
it rains? Do we have umbrellas? Do we have this? Oh God, yeah.
Outdoors then, huh?
It is outdoors. Yeah.
risky.
Oh fuck yeah. Outdoors in August.
Oh,
So it could be a great day, a terrible day,
could
rainy
even
day.
be cold.
It could be cold. It could
Yeah.
be fucking snowing for all we.
Damn.
Yeah. So we're
Damn.
still doing all that. I mean,
That gives me anxiety just thinking
Uh,
about.
actually, what's kind of cool is I only have to do 10% of the work. Courtney's the one that's just, it's got to be like this. It's got to be like that. So
Yeah, you're lucky.
what's she trying to pull?
What she got?
I have no idea. I can't read. What the fuck is that?
You can't read my handwriting?
Oh my God. It
Oh
says,
my God.
I think it says PS. Hang on.
Wait, is this something that's not supposed to be said
It's
on the
totally
air? or what?
not for the podcast, but it's
I'm going
okay.
to say it. This is what I think her note
Oh,
says.
Jesus.
God
All right.
damn it. Why
So
is
it
he so
says-
fucking dramatic?
So it says P8, whatever.
It's an S.
90. Is that an S? PS. Got it. Thank you.
You're the
ni-
most annoying fucking person I know.
90 second share live. Got the units for fuck's sake sound. Got it. Maybe forward to piggyback. Yeah.
This is why people can't communicate with him. Like, do you want me to read it to you? Or he can probably read it. He's got a girlfriend that.
99% sure I've got the sound units for you.
That's what that said, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I am pretty dramatic, aren't I?
If you two,
Something about piggybacking.
yeah.
Do you,
I was going to say.
do you want me to jump on his back and get it on
No.
camera?
Is that what you're into? Jesus Christ, bro.
No. Well, maybe.
She's
Depends
planning
on
out
the
a
day.
porno in her head right now.
Is it a PR day or not? Anywho, it says maybe 2 to piggyback. You had asked if I could help you with sound for your wedding.
Yeah.
And I asked, and I said I have to wait because, we have 6 mobile units or whatever that we can use.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like she's like, yeah, I'm sure there won't be a problem. You can have one. Well, if there's 2 left, I can get 2, and then we piggyback them. So you actually have 2
Surround
points of
sound.
So, I mean, one is
Bitch.
plenty big enough for you. But when you were saying that you might have like an inside of tent and an outside of tent, I might be able to get you 2 rounds of.
Listen to that. Courtney will be
Yeah.
so happy
I
to
know,
hear
and
that.
you were being such a dick to me, but it's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
okay.
You're
It's
an
fine.
asshole,
I
man.
had to try to be as nice as I could
We
after I
were-
already decided you were giving, Shelby the D, so accidentally.
Were we not just talking about being transparent? This is me, guys.
I know.
Asshole, douchebag,
You
dildo
being
head.
real?
I do think though you would be really fun on like if we did like a couples road trip, you'd be that one guy that everyone laughs at as long as it's not happening to them.
Yeah.
Like when you're playing
Oh,
the
yeah.
pranks on people in the house,
For sure.
it'd be super funny as long as it wasn't happening like to me.
Oh. And saran wrap over the toilet, shit like that.
I know.
That's
I
the
see you
worst.
doing
I'm an
weird shit
asshole.
like wearing weird moccasins and walking around banging on a pot at 6 a.m. going, everybody get up. We're going to talk about mantras.
Or
Like,
we're doing calisthenics at 5. Let's
Or hot yoga.
Yeah.
and meanwhile, I'm over there going, so I made an egg bake.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I
Right?
just wait till you guys get to the wedding. I'm gonna be pulling pranks on my aunts and uncles.
Yeah,
They
you already
don't
have
know.
them planned.
I'm starting to think about them. Yeah.
God damn,
We got
girl.
water balloons and shit, so it'll be great.
I'm just so
You're
excited.
just a bad person.
I'm just a,
I just can't wait to see people's faces when they open your gift from us.
yeah. Oh, the squatty potty.
The squatty potty.
Courtney is so wanting a squatty potty.
Well, this one's gonna be monogrammed. So
Hell
You
yeah,
got it.
customized.
You got it.
yeah.
And
Can
as a
you
joke,
spray paint it orange?
put like August 4th. August 3rd's the wedding, but put August 4th, 2018. Just as
because you
Well,
know,
yeah, because it's
well,
not
you
the
know
wedding
the
date.
shits
It's the
are gonna
first
be
squatty potty.
right.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
the shits are gonna be bad the next day.
Fuck
So
yeah.
So
Fuck
yeah, the squatty potty is not about what day you got married. It's the day that you first, as a married couple, took a shit together.
yeah.
Or shit with
she
the door
only
open.
sat on my lap and took a shit once.
Oh, that's
It's never happened. Never happened. But I
I
wanted
was
to
like,
see that
isn't that
reaction.
called a hot Carl?
Yeah.
What? Just check it.
What?
yeah.
That's an
Cleveland.
actual
It's a hot
thing?
Carl.
Yeah, you
Oh,
shit on
shit.
someone's chest.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
You ever look up the Urban Dictionary, dude?
No.
Why do I think Josh
Do
thinks
you
the
know-
rusty trombone is an actual rusted instrument?
I do think it's an actual instrument. What?
How about the?
I don't want to even know. Here's
How
my
about-
guess.
how
Here's
about
my
the
guess.
Alaskan pipeline.
Hang on. Hang on. Here's my guess on the rusty trombone. Okay.
Alabama Hot Pocket.
Here's my guess. Period on your
Rust.
dick.
Rust. What
Yeah.
color is rust? You
I'm
fucking
thinking
idiot.
red. I'm thinking going in.
No.
Nope.
No. I have no idea then. Ginger snap style.
Let's just say when you go to her house, but you go in her back door, not the front door,
Okay.
Yep.
and then you decide you're still going to eat the hot dog that's at the barbecue. She does. She still eats the hot dog you
Oh,
barbecue with.
please no. Please.
That was
no.
And there's still char marks on them.
Oh,
I just want you to know that that was the most adulting mom way of describing a rusty trombone I could think of.
Yeah.
oh, fuck no. I would not wish that on my worst enemy.
I'm not going to explain the ones that I did. You can look that up on Urban
Yeah?
Dictionary
All right.
to our
Yeah.
listeners if they'd like.
Alaskan pipeline.
Hey,
And
that's
whatever you
ingenuitive.
do, whatever you do, if someone mentions blue waffle, do not Google it.
Or do.
Or do.
Or tub girl.
Oh, no, I don't even know that one, but I'm not
oh
going
my
to.
goodness, guys. What's funny is I'm so innocent, but yet I have such
But
a terrible
not.
mind.
Josh is the guy that would forget to open the private sector of the Safari on his phone.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, every single Amazon ad that pops
ad?
up is going to be. That's the best thing you can do, by the way. The best prank ever is to go on someone's phone or computer and just start searching for bad
Look at
stuff.
fucking dildos and stuff.
Right, because
and
it'll
then
start
the-
popping up as all
that's
their ads on
hilarious.
everything they do.
That is funny.
It's like
You're
back in
gonna
the
do that.
I am
now,
gonna
aren't
do
you?
that. If one of my coworkers leaves their phone unlocked, guess what? Get ready. You're gonna see some shit. Sex robots, vibrating dildos for him.
And then look up something weird like hair plug surgery. Like
Oh yeah, that's
so
a good
it,
one.
it
That's a
throws
good
something
one.
random
Anal
in so
bleaching.
they don't think it was on
I got
purpose.
it. I got
Yeah.
it. Anal bleaching will be the one I'll look up. So if you guys,
Brazilians near me.
yeah, there you go. Yeah, hot Brazilians near me. Yeah. So if you
I
guys
was thinking
get
like
that-
wax, but not actual like people.
Oh, I was thinking actual people.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I'm gonna download Grinder and put it right on their home screen. Perfect. Like it.
You see, you just
Got
took
it.
it too far. Now
No,
you're gonna
fuck
get
off.
caught. Now you're gonna get caught.
You know what? Catch me. Catch me if you can, bitches.
I just want you to know how old I am. That back in the day we couldn't do that. We actually would do the thing where we would call the Valtrex number and we would sign our friends up to get all the materials in the mail, and they'd get like herpes medication mails and emails for like months.
Yep.
That's what we used to have to do.
pranks before, is putting your friends' phone numbers down for stuff.
Right. It was
Now-
amazing. You'd be like, "Hey, Bill, see you're not in suppression anymore." His mom would be asking questions. You're like, dude.
Why did you get this Viagra?
All right.
That was also back when I used to have to wait for dial-up to load the nude pictures.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I'm old.
Oh,
One
right.
Little.
You'd see a
line at
nipple,
time.
and then the whole areola. Got it.
And
Under
right
boob
as it's about to get to
belly
the
button.
right as it's about to get to the sweet spot, your mom
Server
would knock on the door.
error.
What's
Yep.
going on?
or server error.
Or someone would pick up the phone and you could hear them over the modem thing. Hello?
Hello?
Who's on the phone right
Yeah.
now?
Yep. All of a sudden, fuck! It's right there. Oh my god.
Mom, I'm on the internet.
Yeah, mom.
Mom, close the door. Close the door.
I never did. That wasn't me though.
Well,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mom,
There.
close the door.
Yeah, let's just say that nobody was afraid to wash my socks. You weirdos.
No one was afraid to wash my socks. That's a lot of friction. It's a lot of friction.
You don't do it with the sock on it. What is wrong with you?
Well, see, there you go.
Even I know. Oh my God.
So you can tell I've never used a sock before. Because that's what I think of. I'm thinking of somebody using a sock, and I'm like, oh, the amount of chafing. No,
Why
thank
do
you.
I think you're the person that lays out like you lay a towel out and you got some
No.
Kleenex here. Everything's in order like a serial killer.
No.
Oh my God. How do I know more about male masturbation than you do? I mean, I realize Pornhub is a thing now, but this is ridiculous.
So I never used a sock.
Are we done?
I'm done.
All right. There are layers to this guy.
Wait, layers of socks?
Layers of cum.
Okay.
Oh God, we're done.
You just. Why do you have to take something and
So,
fucking
Cole?
God damn it!
You know what? You know what? I know you're bothered right now, but you know what's been bothering me?
What?
One of my
Friction from your sock?
Jesus. That was gonna be the segue.
Your dick's already red enough, dude. You don't need to freaking irritate the skin
You know
with
what?
the sock.
I wanted to match my skin to my hair down there. All right. Okay.
Damn it.
So, what's been bugging me lately, besides being picked on for my masturbation habits, is one of my coworkers came up to me the other day, and she said it, but then also one of my athletes that to me is a badass, because not only does she drive quite a long time to get to the gym,
Yeah.
but I mean, she'll come if it's a snow day, she'll come no matter what.
She's there.
She's there. She's a real badass.
Getting her done.
Real badass. But I found out that one of my coworkers recommended to this athlete that she should have no more than 30 grams of dietary fat every day.
Fuck. Have fun with that diet.
Yeah, right?
Jesus H. Christ.
So 30 grams of fat, 300 to 350 grams of carbs.
Huh.
With
Yeah.
no real other recommendations. So it wasn't like, oh, and with those carbs, you should do this. You know, you should eat this.
Right.
What I think bothered me the most was my coworker backed it up with saying, well, that's what it says in my NASM certification. Now, I don't really know when she got certified.
And so NASM is like NASM is one of the primary, that's a very popular certification to go get for brand new
sure.
personal trainers.
Yeah,
correct?
yeah. For random person.
No, brand new.
Oh, I thought you said random, and I'm like, well, yeah, kind of,
Well,
sort of.
kind of, yeah.
So not to bash NASM, it's
But yeah.
well,
bash
kind of.
NASM.
What NASM does is they give you a base of information, and then from there are tens of maybe even 100 different certifications you can do for continuing education.
Yeah.
And I am sure those are more up to date.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm more than certain that the base of information, they're like, it's just a base knowledge just to get them started, to get their feet wet. So they don't put a whole lot of priority into it.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I mean, I'd be willing to bet that 50% of personal trainers that get a certification through them end up no longer personal training, because there's so much
Right.
turnover in this.
The field.
Yeah, in this field.
Yeah, but
So I mean,
That's still-
I'm
that's
giving them
still-
the benefit of the
right. That
benefit
still
of the
doesn't
doubt.
excuse having bad information, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that, because that's what it is. It's bad information.
It's old information.
Yeah.
yeah. It's disproven information. So what I'm getting
right.
at
So
is
it's incorrect information.
right.
It's bad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So my coworker says, well, I got the certification in 2015. The book was printed in 2015, which she failed to recognize that just because the book was printed and possibly even recopyrighted or written, whatever.
Because most of the time when they reprint them books, those books, I should say.
Yeah.
My redneck's coming out. My hillbilly.
Them dare books.
It's literally they just go in and change a couple things
Yeah.
from the previous volume.
Yeah.
And then they just put it as the new volume.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like 95% of the information is still the same.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Especially when it's a basic certification.
yeah.
We're just certifying you to be eligible to be a personal trainer is really what that is. But again, so I challenged this person, hey, go into your book, find the nutrition section that you got this information from, figure out where it is on your reference pages, and just come back to me with what years were those studies published. And the newest publication was 2003.
Damn.
Yeah, so anywhere
So
from
they're pulling the information from those studies, the newest being 2003,
right.
and then printing them in a book that was supposedly published in 2015.
Right, exactly. So most of the resources were from the 90s.
Yeah.
Most of them. Just like
That's crazy.
we've talked about this in the past with my book. It was very similar. She obviously didn't listen to the podcast. But she was giving out information that has been disproven so many times that the low-fat diet started in the 80s. High cardio.
Well, that's
no
what
fat.
happened when society villainized fat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That was the worst thing they could do, honestly, is calling fat.
Mhm.
Like calling someone who's overweight fat.
Right. Oh, right. They should.
Because then that automatically puts people in the mindset that the fat macro is a bad thing.
Yeah, the fat I'm eating is turning into the fat on my body.
Yeah.
They should have either called it dietary essentials or dietary essential acid, something like that.
Something.
Calling it fat was the dumbest thing they could have done,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Because what most people don't understand is you get fat from having too much energy in your system, and primarily that energy coming from an abundance or an excess amount of carbohydrate, right? So your body will convert that then glucose into that fatty acid because it no longer needs the glucose to the muscle or the energy right now. But again, so recommending 30 grams of fat. So what fat does in your cell is it's the lining of your cell. It's the only thing holding it together. Without fat, you got nothing. Okay, that's muscle cell, hair cell, everything. And again, unfortunately, she thought because the book was published 4 years ago that it was up to date and that they updated everything. And that's just not the case. And that sucks because now she has to go back and tell this athlete, hey, I was wrong.
Yeah. But that's a problem with the whole system of the education of people, which brings me to when I was in college, we had to take a couple of nutrition classes. And the first one was like an intro to nutrition, and then the second was the advanced nutrition. But the one I really had an issue with was the intro because, again, it kind of went over like the guidelines. It was a very broad thing, so it just kind of brushed over a lot of different things. But I had to bite my tongue so much sitting in that classroom because me being more it's not like I was more knowledgeable, but I was more up to date with the current studies and stuff. And the information that the professor was teaching and the information in the book was just blatantly wrong. Like it was
like low fat.
Right. It was just blatantly wrong. And that's no fault of the professor. Well, there is a little bit of fault, right? Because the professor could be furthering their knowledge in current up-to-date info, but they're not. But they also have to teach out of this book, so they kind of have to align with the book because they can't tell you one thing and then the book tell you something different. Then it's like what's right?
Yeah, and unless they're gonna write a book,
right?
Yeah,
but again, that book, just the information in the book was outdated, and that's such a slow cycle to really update all of that information.
Yeah, it could be a decade or two.
Yeah. And then by the time they get even the stuff that we think today, 10 years down the road might be wrong.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? We don't know.
Right.
The only thing we can do is go off the newest proven information that is available to us. And like I said, we can't look in the future and see, hey, 10 years from now, that might be disproven. And it might actually be this. That might be an underlying cause of this bigger picture that's actually going on.
And the hardest thing is, let's say you and I are doing research now. We're basing it off of what other people are putting out. And what's the problem with that is if they're trying to sell something. I mean, everybody's ego kind of gets into it where, hey, we found the newest and best, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And it's going to make sure you don't get diabetes or, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's so hard.
There's always some ulterior motive.
Exactly. And then the question that our listeners would have is, well, then how do you know? How do you know?
I would say, and we've kind of talked about this when talking about coaches and trainers, you have to do a lot of research and then pick the consistent things that you see over time. So one study might say this that's like kind of right, but it has this part of it that you notice consistency in some other studies or some other articles. So if it's said multiple times by different sources, it has a good chance of being true.
Right.
Whereas like some of these outlandish studies where they kind of cherry pick information and then jump to this conclusion that has barely any basis in the actual data, and then it comes out with this outlandish, like, crazy information. Like, it's like, well,
Like raspberry ketones is going to help you lose all the weight in the world.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, or green coffee bean extract is the next best thing.
Yeah. So, I would say with your research or just reading articles, like read from a bunch of different sources and then take kind of the most consistent principles and then implement them.
And I think what's really hard too, especially when it comes to nutrition, is what works for me doesn't necessarily work for you.
Yeah.
And what's really tough is I might tell you, hey, I kind of follow the lines of the vertical diet where I'm eating a lot of rice and beef and things like that. And for you, which not you, but for you listener, let's say you have as much beef as I do. All of a sudden you start to get acne. All of a sudden you start to get constipated or, whatever. You still got to understand that these studies aren't done on you. They're done on some other person or people, and then they're just drawing a conclusion from that. So that conclusion might have nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
That's like with the ketogenic diet and, the Atkins diet and all things like that. For some people, it works great. For some people, it doesn't work because we're just made differently.
Right. And that brings up I've been hearing some interesting information about people who are talking about like their diet, kind of tailoring it towards the area of the world where your like ancestors
Yeah, you talking
lived.
like Mediterranean diet?
Right. So like if you like, depending on where your DNA evolved.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So like someone who like was an Eskimo or Inuit who lived mostly off of fat and protein probably respond a little bit better to a keto style diet
Right.
than a low fat, high carb diet, just
Right.
because literally that's how their people ate for thousands potentially of years.
Right.
So
Right.
their bodies kind of evolved to break down that type of food in that certain
Right.
way.
And like the paleo diet's going to work for some people.
Right.
Because, if your ancestors are in line with the Paleolithic man, that might work. Or the Mediterranean diet or
Yeah.
I mean,
and that's like, that goes back to saying we don't know everything.
Right.
So
yeah.
who knows in a couple of years if that even fucking matters, if it doesn't,
Right.
we don't know. All we know is people respond differently to different things.
Right.
So the best thing you can do a research on a ton of different shit, try a ton of different shit, see what works for you, do that.
Yeah, and if you're not willing to do that, hire somebody who has done that.
Yep.
Hire a guy like Cole or me where we've at least got a starting point for you. Like, hey, this has worked for the majority of my people.
Yep.
Let's start you there. And if you
And then you
happen
can
to be a
fine-tune off of
snowflake,
that.
if you happen to be a snowflake, okay, we're going to figure this out together. Right now, actually, one of my athletes, her daughter was just diagnosed with breast cancer. And I have been going down a hell of a rabbit hole on like gut health and inflammation in the body and how, if we can limit your inflammation, by pulling away your white flour, your white sugar, and making sure you're getting good fibers and things like that, that it can actually help you stay in remission once you've gotten rid of it. Yeah. And also, so she's going through some crazy chemotherapy, some crazy shit. It's this whole process is going to take a full year. So she'll be on like the actual chemo drug, and then she'll be on some other whatever for
Like
50,
radiation therapy
or
or
just some
whatever.
pill or what. Anyway, I have no idea. I'm not
Damn.
by no means do I know about this, but for 52 weeks she has to do some 54 maybe.
That's intense.
So I know part of that is going to just completely kill her immune system. It's going to kill
for sure.
her gut health, all that shit. So I've been doing my best to kind of get ahead of it before she goes through this whole process,
Right.
where I can tell this lady, hey, tell your daughter, eat things like this. Try to do this. Try to, have your Greek yogurts, have your spinach, have your sweet potatoes and carrots and all this stuff ahead of the game to try to keep that bacteria alive before you get really sick.
Yeah.
Because that's something with cancer survivors that they have to deal with is, in a way, it's like having some autoimmune disease where your body is literally freaking out.
Well, that's the thing about, and like I said, I'm no fucking expert in this.
Mhm.
I barely know anything. But from what I've heard, chemo is basically just blasting your entire body.
Yeah. You're trying to kill the
You're-
cancer before it kills you.
Right. But that chemo is also, it's killing the cancer cells, but it's also killing a bunch of other cells in your body.
Everything.
So it's there's a lot of side effects that come with that.
Absolutely.
you
Yeah.
know? And if you can help mitigate
Exactly.
those side effects,
Yep.
then you're going to be better off, because that's just fucking tough, man. That's, you got to do what you can.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, we were talking about this before where, so with the Complete Athlete, we're doing a 1-year challenge and it
Mhm.
started January 1st, right? January, you tried to create some new habit that's kind of easy for you just to kind of get into it. And then in February, we're trying to do flour free
Mhm.
because to all the athletes, it's okay, just try to limit your flour, which people are finding out that flour is in everything.
Everything.
Right? So to them, it's okay, just try to pull flour out. To me, it's we're getting different types of fiber in your system. You're going to be
Right,
less.
because you got to diversify your diet
Yeah.
in order to work around that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So they're just pulling out that one thing. You're going to have to try other healthier
Exactly.
things just to get around that.
Yeah. So if you want noodles, you're going to have to go brown rice or, you're-
Right.
So the athletes are just thinking with flour. For me, I'm thinking this is a one thing they can focus on and not realize that they're going to have all these benefits to their gut. They're going
Mhm.
to have better sleep. They're going to have less. They're going to most
As
likely
side
have less
effects
sugar.
of this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And again, so by going through this is the same thing as everybody. I mean, if you're constantly riddling your body with white flour, there's no fiber to it. There's no vitamins really to it,
Mhm.
unless even if they enrich it, that's not really that great. And just the amount of damage something like that does, it's especially if it's a long-term thing. I
Right.
mean, I'm not saying it's going to do it, but we're talking diabetes, we're talking heart disease, Alzheimer's, anything that is inflammation based, we can help mitigate that, right?
Mhm.
We can eat some better things. And again, same deal when you're going through cancer. And I've just been going down this rabbit hole of just gut health, and we're just going to go deep.
Yeah.
Right.
And we talked about this a little bit before we got on air, but that's been kind of one of these emerging
Yeah.
um,
Fields of study.
field. Yeah, because there's so much information coming out about gut health that even 3 years ago that we had no idea about.
Oh, right.
Or, I mean, the general public didn't. Maybe
Mhm.
there were some people who were doing the research that knew, but they're tying so much into gut health. Maybe you can talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah,
Just how
so-
it kind of affects literally everything,
Mhm,
which
yeah.
is crazy.
Right.
It's nuts that there's bacteria in your stomach
Mm-hmm.
that aren't human cells. They're
Right.
not your cells.
No.
They're bacteria
Yeah.
that affect your day-to-day life
Yeah.
and your mental state.
Yeah, your
even.
mood, it can make you depressed, it can make you happy. It
Yeah.
can make you have energy, it can make you feel like you just want to sit on the couch. It can cause cravings, and it can basically take away your self-control, because there are 10 times as many bacteria in your gut as you have human cells. So there's 10 times the force telling your brain, I want this shitty ass food, because we're the bad bacteria, because you haven't had enough fiber for months, for years, and we run the show. And we want you to have Doritos. We want you to have all this shit. So,
That's crazy.
yeah, isn't that crazy? And so, inflammation in the brain is depression, right?
Mhm.
Inflammation in your arteries and your heart and things like that can cause heart disease. Inflammation in your brain can also give you Alzheimer's and aneurysms and lose memory. And so, a lot of people, when they think inflammation, they think swelling.
Yep.
They probably
More or less.
Well, yeah, they probably need to reword it.
Mhm.
Instead of saying inflammation. It's just,
Yeah, that's an
how about
issue
we
with
call
that.
it
It's been
stress?
Yeah, it's been such a buzzword.
Yeah.
Like inflammation is
Yeah.
like, okay, what does that actually even
Right.
mean?
So let's say stress, bad stress, good stress. Because we know, like with training, that's a quote unquote good stress to a point,
Mhm.
and then our body's response to that stress is more muscle, less
Right.
body fat.
Right.
You know,
Trying to maintain that homeostasis.
exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. So if we let these bad bacteria run the show, they just want bad stress. Because what their thing is they want more of you. So let me put it this way. In your gut, imagine your colon is like a garden hose.
Okay.
Okay. And the lining of that garden hose is like a mucus. Let's just call it boogers. Okay. So those boogers, all right. Yeah,
So
that's
we're
right.
talking about colon boogers.
Yeah,
here.
colon boogers, not fat. It's actually a mucus lining. Anyway, that fat is made up of fibrous material. And if you're not introducing fiber into your system, your body has a backup plan to try to keep that bacteria alive, because it helps keep us healthy. Even though there are a lot of bad things that can happen, there's a lot of good things that can happen. So if that fiber is starving because you're not giving it the right fiber, the bad bacteria and even the good stuff is going to go after that lining. Eventually, it'll eat that whole lining. Then what's next? You have no barrier between your gut and your body. It'll literally eat through your intestinal lining. And then we have something called leaky gut syndrome, where the bacteria is actually getting into your bloodstream. Okay? If that happens, that bacteria is getting everywhere. It's literally just riddling your body. Your body will have to have an immune response to try to attack it.
Keep in mind, your body, this bacteria isn't supposed to be anywhere but your digestive
Your colon.
tract.
Yep.
Yeah.
Your colon is actually like a completely disconnected thing to your body.
Yep.
It's only the little hairs, the villi, that actually draw nutrients from your colon into your body.
Right. So when this bacteria gets into your bloodstream where it's not supposed to be, your
body thinks it's being attacked.
Exactly. So
it thinks it's a virus.
Exactly. So it goes after that bacteria.
And if it goes after it enough times, then anytime you introduce peanuts into your life, maybe you develop a peanut allergy throughout your life because your body gets it again and again in the bloodstream. And then your body starts to produce these antibodies so that it can fight off that peanut.
Well, and that's something that may have happened to me because I developed some lactose intolerance.
Yeah.
That never used to be an issue. And then all of a sudden it started being an issue.
Yeah, it could be that maybe your body stopped producing lactase. Maybe your body never could deal with lactose, but it could deal with it in a way like it could just shuttle it out.
Right.
But now it's starting to introduce itself into your bloodstream, so you get like a runny nose or a stuffy nose, or again, your body will have a response to it.
Yeah.
And again, so even if the good bacteria is getting into your bloodstream, that's not a good thing. And then your body is thinking, okay, anytime I see this, I need to attack it. So now it starts to see it in your colon. Now it's going to start attacking your colon. Then you're going to have like irritable bowel syndrome, and you're going to have all these digestional problems, constipation. You're going to plug up and back up, and then your body starts to get. Your body's very smart, so it's going to start telling your body, okay, this bacteria feeds off of the fiber in sweet potatoes. Well, we're not going to even want sweet potatoes.
Allergy.
We know that, right? We know that your body won't react to a potato chip. We can still get the carbs. We can get some salt. We can get some fat. Boom, pull that shit in. Now you're not getting fiber for anything. Right? So then you get worse and worse cravings. You get worse and worse gut health. But again, so if you're not introducing that fiber, that bacteria will get it from somewhere. Okay? And it will eat you alive.
Yeah.
And that's something we need to avoid.
And this is such new info that the general public has no idea about.
And I'm probably butchering it hard. And I'm by no means, I'm just trying to paint you a picture, right? So another great picture. So here's probably going to be your response. Okay, so I need fiber.
Right.
Okay. So what are you going to do? You're going to go buy Metamucil, psyllium husks. You're going to buy fiber tablets or whatever. And in your mind, fiber is fiber. So I'm going to give you two things.
Right, because it's literally on the nutrition facts, it just says fibers and
exactly.
however many grams.
Exactly. Yep. So I'll give you two things. One, go get a Robert Irvine bar. Get 10 of them. Okay, get 10 of them. Eat them. Guaranteed, you'll never do it again. And the reason being is the fiber in those, it's just one type of fiber. More fiber isn't necessarily the answer. So let's say I can't remember if there's 6 or 8 different types of fiber, but let's just say there's a number. If you get 50 grams of that one fiber, that's not normal. Your body, in no circumstance up until the Industrial Revolution, there's no circumstance where you'd get that much fiber of one particular type.
Right, because there was no foods that you could eat.
Yeah, even a potato.
That much,
exactly.
fiber into your system.
The amount of potato you'd have to eat to get 30 grams of the same
that
thing is
same- yeah,
ridiculous,
yeah.
right? So your body kind of has a response to that. And then you feel like, oh, well, I thought I had enough fiber, so you cut it back. So what I'm saying is, imagine your bacteria in your gut, or the fiber that you need to take is like your backyard. Okay, like the lawn of your backyard.
Okay.
Okay. Let's just talk grass. Let's
All right.
not talk any.
All
Okay,
right.
here we go.
Yep.
So if you have the same grass everywhere, and some not pesticide, but some bug or something infects your grass,
Yep.
it's going to wipe it all out
'Cause it's all
because
the
it's just
same.
one type, right? Same with your colon. Okay, so let's say in your grass we have grass that does well in high sun, a lot of shade, some of it's thick, some of it's thin, maybe there's some crabgrass around, some dandelions, whatever. So you don't want the dandelions. So you get this, Roundup or whatever, and you spray it, and it kills just the dandelions, right? The grass is usually fine.
Yep.
But now, let's say you bring in some just crazy herbicide. I can't even think of the one that I want to think of. It's a farming one that they use that you can't buy it. Can't think of it. But anyway, you spray it and it kills everything, right?
Yeah.
That's like antibacterial hand
Medicine,
soap.
yeah.
Yep, that's antibiotics. That's what's happening to your system. So you just completely decimated all
It's
of this
basically
grass.
it's basically like a forest fire.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
Start fresh.
Yeah, so you
Or
start
not.
fresh. Right. And every time you wash your hands with antibacterial soap, you're doing that to your skin. Every time you take antibiotics, you're doing that to your gut.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Josh. So we know we need it to be diverse, because if we want to do targeted attacks, like on just the dandelions, we can. We can
Yep.
get a dandelion killer. Great. But then we do a broad spectrum, and I'll think of the word by the end of this. I just can't think of the type. Then what? What do we do? We were talking probiotics before,
Yep.
right? So probiotics, I wish, and I just found this out in the last couple weeks, I wish that a probiotic offered the bacteria that your body actually uses and keeps. What that bacteria is really doing is it's like going into a field and just tilling up all the soil. It's preventing things from growing, good
Right.
and bad, a little bit. It's kind of just keeping it fresh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then you let some stuff grow and you're like, okay, I don't really like this. So you till it up again.
Yep.
Right. So what it's doing is it's just a placeholder.
It's not necessarily planting
Yeah.
that bacteria
Yep.
in there.
It's just keeping good and bad out a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully allowing the good to grow, because those probiotics you're taking in, they still have waste. They still eat things. They
Yep.
still need to live too. And by taking those probiotics, you're more likely to grow good bacteria
Mm-hmm.
in that environment. But a lot of people, I think, oh, I took all these biotics or whatever. If they're thinking probiotics, they think that's just going to fix me and I can eat all the shit I want.
Yeah.
But that's not true either, because if you're eating just a bunch of shit with all these probiotics, those probiotics are just going to get pushed out. And if you're just eating ho-hos, ding-dongs, and honey buns,
Those are some good shit.
you're going to have
so-
some ho-ho, ding-dong, and honey bun bacteria in your gut, right? And then if you got all that inflammation, you're more likely to
Right.
have leaky gut, and then
So
the
what
cycle
we talked
continues.
about before is like probiotics. You don't want to depend on them, right?
Mhm.
You want to be able to use them like a tool. So one, your biggest goal should be you want to foster good bacteria in your gut, right?
Right.
But let's say you get sick and you need to take some antibiotics to get rid of the sickness,
The
right?
bat. Yeah.
Yep. So like you said, you take those antibiotics, it's an antibiotic. It doesn't discriminate. It kills everything.
Everything.
So that might be a good time.
Atrazine. It's atrazine.
Okay, cool, whatever.
Got it.
I don't give a shit.
Well, keep going.
So you take those antibiotics, it torches the whole landscape,
Mhm.
right? So during this time, to help your gut, to help you avoid leaky gut or
Mhm.
whatever, right? You may introduce some of those probiotics to just kind of keep that bacteria in there, because if you're still taking the antibiotics, it's constantly getting killed.
Yeah, it's just killing everything.
So you may use that as kind of a placeholder
Mm-hmm.
during that period, because you don't want to have nothing in there.
Right.
So you introduce that for a little bit, and then once you're off the antibiotics, then you go. This whole time you should be still doing your same diet, but then when you're done with the antibiotics, it'll stop killing everything.
Mm-hmm.
So then you can foster again that healthy population
Right.
of bacteria in your gut.
Right. And so we were talking fiber. So Josh, what foods can I eat that are going to help harbor good bacteria? Greek yogurt, anything fermented. So like I
Kimchi.
like kimchi. Oh my God, do I love sauerkraut? Not beer. Okay, that I get it's fermented, but alcohol will just kill your gut. Sweet potatoes, carrots, spinach, fruits, vegetables, things like that, where it sticks with you a little bit. But again, I'm not saying every day, forever, all you eat is spinach.
Right.
No, you got to make sure you're getting a whole variety, not only of vegetables and fruits, but colors too, right? So every time you have something that's really highly processed, it comes with bacteria, right? Excuse me. So every time you take in something bad, you got to make sure there's that much or more good coming with it too, just to try to keep
Level
that
it out.
homeostasis.
Yep.
Exactly. So for everybody that, let's say you're doing pizza, okay? So if you just can't wait to have pizza, my favorite is barbecue
That's your thing,
pizza.
right?
Barbecue pizza. That's all I think about. So if you're going that route, you are going to be taking in so much bad, okay, so much harmful things to your gut. There's going to be a lot of gas. There's going to be fermentation in your gut very quickly. It's going to be a very hot wildfire. So if you can take in things like kombucha, which is also a fermented drink, if you drink that kombucha while you're eating the pizza, you're doing good. If you maybe a few hours before you eat that pizza, you have some whole fat Greek yogurt, you're doing good. If after you eat that pizza, you have a few carrots, you're doing good for
You're
yourself.
just trying to mitigate the damage
Exactly.
that pizza's going to do.
Yeah, you're not getting rid of the damage,
Right.
but you're at least, again, setting the stage so that your body can kind of rebuild, because
Yeah.
you are destroying some stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just went balls deep into that.
Balls deep. But again, so when you guys are doing research, like I said, you can do all the research on your own, which is very time consuming. It's very tough to do if you don't have a job that you can listen to a lot of podcasts and things like that.
Right.
I mean, if you're listening to us, you're obviously looking to us to give you the information, and we can certainly help you with that and guide you in the right direction. But again, all of these studies, they weren't done on you.
Yep.
So I can't say, again, this is going to work for you. But I can say, here's what some of the research is saying.
Mm-hmm. Try it.
Yeah, try it.
The Coaches Collaboration Podcast. What do you mean you haven't subscribed yet? What the hell are you waiting for?
Come on, y'all.
The Coaches Collaboration Podcast is brought to you by Salutum Health and Performance. Take your full power potential to a new level. Online at salutumhp.com.